Think rhinos are just giant, horned beasts roaming the savannah? Think again. Today, we're diving deep into the hidden world of rhinoceroses, revealing 100 unknown, mysterious, and downright fascinating facts about these prehistoric-looking creatures. From their surprising speed to their misunderstood behavior and ancient ancestry, this journey will completely change how you see rhinos. Get ready to be amazed, startled, and inspired. Let's begin our wild adventure into the incredible life of rhinos. Rhinos are the last surviving members of the ancient order Perissodactyla, which once included horses and tapirs. Their ancestors date back over 50 million years. Some prehistoric rhino relatives had horns on their noses and backs. The word rhinoceros comes from the Greek for nose horn. There are 5 extant species of rhino: white, black, greater one-horned, Javan, and Sumatran. White rhinos aren't actually white. It's thought the name arose from a mistranslation of the Afrikaans word wide, meaning wide, referring to their broad lips. Black rhinos have a hooked lip for browsing shrubs, while white rhinos have a flat lip for grazing grass. The Sumatran rhino is the smallest species and covered in a sparse coat of reddish hair. Rhino horns are made of keratin, the same protein as human hair and nails. Unlike antlers, rhino horns aren't attached to the skull by bone. They grow from the skin. A single rhino horn can regrow if broken or removed. Poachers target horns, but removing one horn doesn't kill a rhino outright. Rhino horns can grow up to 1.5 meters, 5 feet, in length in some species. Horn size and shape vary by species. Javan rhinos have one short, pointed horn, while black rhinos often have 2 curved horns. Rhinos can't see well, relying instead on acute hearing and smell. Their olfactory sense is up to 7 times more sensitive than a bloodhound's. Each rhino's dung pile, midden, marks its territory and communicates reproductive status. Rhinos wallow in mud to cool down and protect themselves from insects and sunburn. Mud baths also help remove parasites from their thick skin. White rhinos are surprisingly social and can form groups called crashes. Black rhinos are more solitary, meeting only to mate. Pregnant rhinos can behave unpredictably. Mothers fiercely guard their calves for up to 3 years. Calves can run within hours of birth, keeping up with their mom to avoid predators. A female rhino's estrus cycle lasts about 30 days, but she's fertile only 1 to 3 days per cycle. Rhinos communicate with grunts, growls, snorts, and even infrasound calls below human hearing. White rhinos can gallop at speeds up to 50 kilometers per hour, faster than an Olympic sprinter. Despite their bulk, rhinos can jump small obstacles when motivated. Their skin can be 1.5 to 5 centimeters thick enough to deflect thorns but not bullets. Beneath that tough hide, their blood vessels are packed close to the surface to release heat. Rhinos have been observed using branches to scratch themselves. They often follow behind elephants to feed on grass turned up by the larger animals. Bird species like oxpeckers feed on ticks found on a rhino's skin, a mutualistic relationship. In India, the greater one-horned rhino is often called the living fossil due to its ancient lineage. Javan rhinos are the rarest, with fewer than 80 individuals left in the wild. Sumatran rhinos are the only Asian rhino species with 2 horns. In medieval Europe, rhino horns were prized as unicorn horns, believed to detect poison. Some Asian cultures still use powdered rhino horn in traditional medicine, though it has no proven benefits. Black rhinos sometimes play king of the hill, charging at each other over territory. They can make a puffing sound when irritated, a warning to back off. The Latin name Rhinoceros unicornis for the Indian rhino literally means one-horned nose horn. Poacher deterrent programs sometimes dehorn rhinos under anesthesia, making them less appealing targets. Female white rhinos often help nurse each other's calves in a behavior called allonursing. Rhinos have a 4-chambered stomach but are non-ruminants. They don't chew cud. A rhino's heart can weigh up to 12 kilograms, 26 pounds, almost as much as a small dog. Their auditory bulli, ear bones, are oversized to amplify low-frequency sounds. Ghost sightings. Rhino footprints preserved in volcanic ash have been found dating back 250,000 years. Ancient Greeks and Romans wrote about Elasmotherium, a giant rhino sister species with a single huge horn. Elasmotherium may have lived alongside early humans in Eurasia around 29,000 years ago. Rhinoceros beetles, named for the tiny horn on their heads, were inspired by rhino horns. Rhino skin has a network of blood-filled channels that glow under ultraviolet light. Wild rhinos often follow the same daily path. Scientists can predict their movements. Some rhino populations practice matriarchal social structures, led by the oldest female. Calves learn vocalizations from their mothers and neighboring adults. Rhinos have 4 toes on each front foot and 3 on each hind foot. Fossil evidence suggests ancient rhinos once roamed North America and Europe. The now extinct woolly rhino lived in Ice Age Europe and Asia. Woolly rhinos had thick coats and 2 horns, the front one up to a meter long. Cave paintings in Europe depict woolly rhinos, showing their importance to prehistoric humans. Rhino poaching skyrocketed in the 1970s due to demand in Vietnam and China. Community-based conservation in Africa has helped black rhino numbers recover in some regions. Rhino DNA fingerprinting aids in forensic investigations of poaching cases. Acoustic sensors in reserves can detect gunshots, helping rangers respond quickly. Drones are now used to monitor rhino herds and track poachers. Some rhino conservancies use specially trained dogs to warn against approaching poachers. A rhino's horn is a status symbol within the herd, used in dominance displays. Mothers sometimes disguise their calves by rolling them in mud to mask scent. A group of rhinos is called a herd, crash, or stubbornness. Rhinos can recognize individual humans, often wardens who feed or treat them. In captivity, rhinos have been taught to use a giant-sized touchscreen to indicate when they're ready for medical checkups. Rhino longevity in the wild can exceed 40 years in some species. In medieval India, rhino horn cups were believed to bring good luck. Rhino bones were sometimes carved into talismans in various cultures. DNA evidence shows the Javan and Sumatran rhinos diverged from a common ancestor only about 10 million years ago. Rhino calves nurse for up to 2 years, but start nibbling vegetation at a few weeks old. Hypersensitive hearing lets rhinos detect approaching clouds of insects and stampede away before being bitten. The famed explorer Marco Polo described Indian rhinos in the 13th century, calling them large oxen with a horn. John Tenniel's famous illustration of the unicorn in Alice in Wonderland was based on a rhino tusk carving. Rhino skin folds can trap moisture, helping to regulate body temperature. In some reserves, artificially inseminated rhinos have given birth, aiding genetic diversity. Rhinos mark trees by scraping their horns. These scrape trees identify high-use areas. Rhinos sometimes rub against termite mounds for a scratch. They are known to sniff each other's dung to glean health and hormonal status. Rhino calves may be hidden in dense vegetation for safety during the first weeks. Some captive rhinos bellow melodically, resembling whale songs at infrasound frequencies. The greater one-horned rhino's skin looks plated, like medieval armor. In Bhutan, white rhinos were once believed to be guardians of sacred water sources. Rhino-shaped pottery from ancient China suggests early contact and reverence. Poaching hotspots often align with regions of heavy corruption, not just proximity to rhino habitat. UNESCO. World Heritage wetlands in India are strongholds for the greater one-horned rhino. Rhinos have been transplanted between reserves to establish new populations. In South Africa, Operation Broken Horn saw dehorning of high-risk rhinos to save them from poachers. Rhinos can swim surprisingly well and cross narrow rivers. In 2018, scientists mapped the entire genome of the black rhino to guide conservation efforts. Rhino feces are being studied for gut microbiome health and disease prevention. Some rhino preserves use beehive fences. Bees deter elephants and inadvertently protect rhinos too. Rhinos appear in African folklore as wise but temperamental creatures. Satellite collars have tracked a rhino that migrated over 100 kilometers in a single month. Rhino hoof prints can be distinguished from elephant prints by their more pointed toe impressions. Calves communicate distress with high-pitched squeaks, different from adult low rumbles. Rhino stripes, patterns of dried mud and algae on their skin, are unique like a fingerprint. Despite dire threats, coordinated global conservation efforts have helped several rhino populations stabilize and even grow, showcasing the power of human-led wildlife protection. We hope you enjoyed these amazing and surprising animal facts. The animal kingdom is full of wonders, and there's always more to discover. If you love this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more fun and educational content. Stay tuned for more incredible facts. See you in the next video.